up, everybody? It's your man J-Rock, and I am flying solo on the J-Rock Show today, ready to talk SimWorld with y'all. Kicking things off today, I wanted to talk about reigning Treys, as that has been one of the biggest storylines of the week. You know, Malik Ambar, as I'm sure everyone knows by now, was fired on Monday as head coach. The ownership group cited that this firing was due to a lack of communication, and a lot of people also attribute it to his seemingly lack of developing anyone on the team. Now, this is something I have said before, and I'll say it again. There is so much talent on this reigning Treys roster. It's not just Japhett Towns, but you also have Trevion Sherwood, basically a 7-footer that can stretch the floor and do it all. You have Jason Crosser, another big man who has the potential to be absolutely dominant. You know, Rian Fugate, who has had his moments this season and shown glimpses of what he can truly do on the court, and Ethan Alexander, and that's just a few of the guys. You know, I mean, outside of Japhett, your next highest scorer is only averaging just under 9 points a game. Like I said, this team has all of the tools and the potential to be successful. They have a clear number one scoring option. They have the size that can stretch the floor. And they have a good mix of both experience and youth. Reigning Treys just needs the right leader to help extract the best out of all these players and therefore create more consistency behind Japhett. All right, continuing on with the show today, I wanted to talk about my outlook on the race to one and who I see doing well or not so well, or some teams that may surprise people. Now, the first team I wanted to talk about, Coach Brad Lee and Southeast Select. You know, this team was one that kind of started out the season rough, had some adversity and stuff to deal with and whatnot, with injuries and what have you. Now they had won 7 games in a row up until last night when they lost to SimWorld Latin America, but they still seem to be really clicking at just the right time. You know, and this is something I gotta say here. There are only a select few coaches in SimWorld Prep that I would never bet money against, and one of those is Brad Lee. What he has done with Southeast Select these last couple of seasons has been truly impressive. You're also starting to see Gabe Pope come into his own and being one of the most reliable perimeter defenders in the league. Dexter Jackson has stepped up in a big way since joining the team, and I look forward to him taking the reins of this offense next season. Brett Backer has been impressive, and he has 2 more years left in SimWorld Prep after this season. This is another team that has a very balanced mix of experience and youth on their roster, and I definitely see them contending for another Race to One championship game appearance and hopefully bringing that long-awaited championship to Coach Brad Lee. All right, next I wanted to talk about Best Coast Ballers. This is a team that has had both their ups and downs this season, and currently they have won only one of their last 5 games. However, they are hovering right around that 500 mark overall, And people sometimes forget that this is a fairly young team. They'll only be losing 2 players after the season to SimWorld U. So they should have a lot coming back for next season, barring any, major changes or departures, what have you. Suno Chapa has been the Mr. Reliable for them this season. Arlo Cook has had games where he's just knocking down threes left and right with that one of the quickest trigger jump shots I have ever seen. And the guy whose play I have really liked for them is Willerich Krause. I have really liked what Krause has done on both ends of the floor, at several points this season. Now, I still think that Best Coast is a team that can make some noise in the race to one, but I believe that it all comes down to if they can get back into the swing of things overall. All right, and to finish things up today, I want to talk about a team who I think could be a sleeper team in the race to one. And that team is SimWorld Asia Pacific. Now, they have had a very unique season in their own right between suspensions and roster turnover, what have you, having played a long time with a short bench. But they have had consistent offensive play from the likes of Kai Newby, and Leonardo Fields has absolutely burst onto the scene as a dominant big man this season. Oliver West and Victor Soto have made huge contributions as well. Defensively, APAC has been great. They're top 5 in the league in opposition scoring at around 67 points allowed per game. And I get it. You might say, well, if they're that good defensively, why are they below 500? That's because while they have guys who can score, there have been times where they have had some drive spells offensively. Now, I believe what they're going to have to do in order to win games in the race to one is that they're going to have to be consistent on the offensive end of the floor. The race to one is not time to be having those dry spells at all, by any means. Now, another thing that has kind of not helped them at times is Leonardo Fields when he gets into foul trouble. And a lot of times, if you go back and see when that has happened and Fields has had to go to the bench because he fouled out or, he's got 3 or 4 fouls in a early or in a critical situation, it's almost like SimWorld Asia Pacific looks lost offensively when that happens. SimWorld Asia Pacific is still not a team I definitely would not overlook them in the race to one. And I think that there is a good chance that for a second year in a row that we will see them make another deep run in the race to one. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for today's episode of the J-Rock Show. Thank y'all for tuning in. See you next week. And as always, see the game, be the game. J-Rock out.